You're listening to the Uncovered Podcast. It's a show full of conversations on relationships and marriage that will challenge our traditions, our beliefs, and our outcomes, ultimately leading us to a place of clarity, of thought, and restored hope. Thank you for joining us. My name is Will.
Hey.
What's up, Will? What's up, Danny boy? Yo, what's going on? And also with me, Miss Jessica, a.k.a. Lady J.
Hey,
what's up, girl?
Lady J.
That's my beautiful wife right there.
Ooh, yes.
Also with me, the sister I never had, Miss Brenda.
Yo.
The boss lady.
Yo. And none other than the one, the only, Eddie Rivera.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, baby.
What's up, girl?
Dr. E is in the house. He's Eddie Rivera is our marriage therapist and our family counselor. Welcome to the show, guys. How you feeling today?
Good.
Man, I'm feeling really good myself, man. I'm doing really good, and I'm so happy to be here with my squad. We usually have something really, really good and exciting to talk about. What are we going to talk about today, Dr. E?
We're going to talk about resetting in the year 2021.
2021.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were ready to say good riddance to 2020.
A long time ago.
Yes, sir.
Usually, like at the end of the year, we try to do like resolutions.
Yes.
For the following year, yes.
Yeah. What do you guys think about resolutions?
They're not bad, right? But
No, it's a good thing. It's
Yeah.
a good thing. Most of us don't follow through
that's why.
Amen to
or
that.
don't make the goal.
Yeah. What's the craziest resolution you have done or heard of? Like, it's usually like that weight loss thing, right?
Yeah, me is always dieting. I always
Man.
fail.
Every year, right? That's on the top of my list.
Because, we just foodies.
We
Yes.
love food.
Man.
We do too. And
The best part of life is food.
yeah, like what's our saying? No food?
No fun. Yeah.
Oh,
And if you're not having fun, it's because you don't have no
And
food.
food.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
it's got to be like that.
okay.
So usually weight loss. What else do we hear like as far as resolutions?
Not doing something that you end up doing all the time.
Like goals, like
Yeah.
Like
relationship
reading
goals.
20, relationship goals. Or like reading more books than what you
That's
normally
Yeah.
read.
That's true. Or saving some money.
Or saving,
Yeah.
yes.
Now, one year, remember, it just dawned on me.
Yeah.
You remember that we said at the beginning of the year, we're going to go to the beach 21 times.
Ooh, I like that one.
And we did.
You did it?
21.
That's awesome.
We went
That's
more
it.
than
We gotta do that.
Good one.
We went more than that.
21
though.
visits.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, we
Yeah.
did it. We did it.
Yeah.
So that there was no failure in that one.
In that one.
was
Yes.
So you got some good
That's awesome.
resolutions, and then you got some hard resolutions, the ones that you kind of think about, and then some people last with these resolutions, some in January, February.
Yeah.
They say that the highest gym memberships are always in January.
Yeah.
That first
that's
quarter.
true.
Yeah,
the
that
first
first quarter. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody's psyched up, pumped up.
Let's go.
And then you miss one day, and
Yeah.
you're like, then you miss another one, then you go, and then you miss another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, forget about it.
But today, like, you want to bring up something different than resolutions. What's the mirror to that, or something different?
It's kind of the same, but it has to do with dealing with loss, dealing with devastation, dealing with disappointment, dealing with all of those things that set us back, right? And potentially has the power
Yeah.
or the ability to mark our lives forever. And some people don't come back. Like, for instance, this year was really hard for us. We had several losses in our family. I lost my mother this year at the beginning of the year, and Brenda lost her father recently. And if it were not for the grace of God and family and friends and the mindset that we have to continue to move forward, we would be in a real tough situation where then we suffer other collateral damages.
Yeah.
And I think that that's where we want to kind of park a little bit.
Yeah. what's another word for the resolution that we could maybe use for this year?
Well, I think that resetting, it means to fix something with a new or a different way. Mm-hmm. So beyond having a decision and a plan to reach a goal, right? It's a positive thing. Resetting or having a reset is kind of getting a do-over, kind of making sure that you have the energy to do it,
right?
You have the drive to do it, and you believe that things can change for you, your family, your loved ones.
Yeah.
So it's much more than achieving, in a sense, a superficial goal.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's got to be pretty important when it comes to marriage and relationships. Because I know if I had a bad year as a husband, and the real,
you probably had a bad year as a family.
Yeah. And I could probably use a reset for my wife, or even in other relationships in our lives that we made mistakes or we said something that we should have said.
Yeah, exactly.
Fighting words. And especially when we've been in isolation for so long.
Wow. That is a tough word for a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people that allowed isolation to get to them. Because there's a lot of people that used isolation to reinvent themselves.
Right.
Right. So their reset will be a positive one. Right. And it won't be a struggle. It'll be something that'll help their momentum.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that we're going to end with that. In this podcast,
that 2020 could have been probably, I was gonna say 2 options, but it may be 3. Maybe it's a deal breaker for somebody, or somebody just used that fuel to just to just reinvent themselves, or or the third one I was thinking is like maybe it's both, that you did have a bad year and you.
It's bittersweet.
Well, there's something that comes along with pain, that at some point becomes fuel.
Yeah. Ooh,
there's something that comes along with the loss, comes along with being severed from someone, suddenly, not being able to see them anymore in the physical realm, that obviously creates a hard time.
Don't make me cry, bro. You got some tears in my eyes here, bro.
Listen.
Well, we have to talk about these things.
Yeah,
we should.
We all know, and we've all lost family members. Yeah. We were just having a conversation that you lost a cousin as well, and we lost some dear friends on top of our parents.
Yeah.
But whatever we go through, there's always a remedy and there's always hope. Right.
Yeah.
And if you're listening wherever you're at in the world, don't give up.
Yeah.
There is hope, and there is a way to reset where you come out stronger, you come out wiser, right. You come away appreciating life, appreciating the details, not being in such a hurry, in the hustle and bustle. Like, for instance, I know that you guys have 3 boys at home. And you probably haven't spent so much time with them like you did when they were toddlers, or they were, in elementary school, that they were, always at your care, at your immediate situation or immediate just there, right? Yeah. When they grow up and they have their agendas and they have their friends, and you'll see them come and go, and some of them, they get older and they move, or they have jobs like you guys, your kids have. But this has allowed you guys to do life together,
Yes.
like those days, right?
Yeah.
Right. It took us back to, what was it, like the 90s? You didn't really have, so much entertainment. So you would do more things at home. Instead of going out to eat so much, you were having home cooked meals.
Yeah.
So that was I thought pretty cool for that to happen with our family, for us to have moments at the table, to have those conversations
Yes.
again,
So good.
to laugh together, to bring out board games and play,
Yeah.
it was nice. And I feel like it helped us to kind of bring back that unity in the family, where I think at one point it felt like it was just kind of, we were pulling apart.
And it happens so like little by
Yeah.
little. Remember that day we went to a beach, and like we know where our tent is, but we went down right into the
Oh,
water,
that's so good.
and the waters got a little rough at
On
some
the
point.
rough side, yes.
And we started going little by little. And
Away.
before we knew it, while we was in conversation, having our good old time, we had drifted away.
We were
Right.
drifting away.
That's so good. That's a good one.
Come on, man.
And man, 2020. Dude,
Yeah, for a lot
I'm
of
getting
people.
all emotional here, but
Yeah, yeah.
man, we've done our greatest work in 2020, but also have felt some very hard loss. And I'm sure one of our listeners or a few listeners can
Yeah.
all around the world can understand.
Yeah. And our hearts go out to everyone that has suffered a loss.
Yeah.
It's never easy. It's something that is unforgivable, unforgettable. It's something that that changes your life.
Yeah.
Right.
It does.
We even heard people that were in the hospital that were dying, and they couldn't even die with their family. Like,
Oh yeah, early on, and even in some counties, cities, states,
Yeah.
they still don't allow you to be present.
right. And
With
then,
your loved one.
and so it's
That's so
two
hard.
stories there. Like, on one end, you have someone that's dying. I would like for you to maybe touch on that psychological something,
Yeah.
because we were wired to be together, to have community, and here you are, and your heart is in your last moments by yourself. I mean, then the other side is the person, the son or the daughter, the family they don't ever get closure, or it feels that
Right.
way. What do you
Yeah.
think about that, bro?
Yeah.
Talk about your mom and her
Well,
situation.
My mother, at the end of 2019, she suffered 3 strokes, back to back to back, at the very end, last quarter. And she was admitted to a rehab facility, and she was progressing. She was doing well. January, February, March, actually February, we would go and spend 3-4 days a week, every week, down in South Florida, where she was at, and spend some time with my dad, make sure that he was good, and he'd be with her, 12, 15 hours a day, go home and then come back. But then the pandemic hit, and they shut down the visitation for the rehab centers. So at that point, she still wasn't speaking.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like we can call her and at least have a conversation over the phone,
Yeah.
right? So I think it was close to 45 days
Yeah, that
that-
she was
that
in
she
there
was
by herself.
Oh my
by
Because
herself.
my father-in-law couldn't go, we couldn't go, so
Yeah.
she was by herself.
And unfortunately, in those days, she passed away. So it was hard for us because we didn't expect that.
Yeah.
Everybody that goes through what she went through usually makes it.
Right.
And so we got the news that she had passed away, and it was very hard. It was very hard because we didn't get to say goodbye. We didn't get to.
Oh, so that was you. I was talking.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. I'm sorry about that. Man.
Yeah. So for us, it was a blow for the family.
Yeah.
But we were reminded that although she was by herself, she wasn't alone.
Yeah, come on.
Because we understand that in her last moments, she was comforted. She was comforted by God, and she was comforted by the nurses that were there. And so we trust, and we have the hope that many don't know, which is that we're going to see her again.
Yeah.
Simultaneously, I think within probably 5-6 months of that,
5 months.
5 months.
Yeah.
Olivia?
No. Well, 4 months was Olivia.
Yeah. So 4 months later, the birth of our granddaughter really, really brought healing to our hurt, to our pain. It was a bittersweet. I've been told more and more every day, and as I look at her, and we spent a lot of time with her every day, I see more and more mom. They're saying that she looks like my mother, and we've kind of put some pictures together.
Yeah,
She's
she
got her
does.
face, and so for us, it's been a bittersweet thing.
Wow.
It gave us a new sense of hope. Anytime you're going through crisis, anytime you're going through pain, when something new is introduced into your life, or you introduce something new, or you learn something new, it helps heal. It helps the process of grieving.
Yeah.
And so, and we're part of an amazing community of friends and family that, that helped as well.
So let's hear from the ladies a little bit. How was your year, the 2020? Anyone want to jump in there? Give us your take.
Gosh. You want to go first?
I lost my dad, so I'm a daddy's girl, so that was hard.
It's okay.
That's okay.
That's what we wanted to do on this podcast.
It's all right.
It's all right.
We're going to talk about these things that we have confronted and then show, give solutions.
Yeah.
What about you, Jess?
Oh gosh. I think this year
We'll come back to you.
No.
This year, it started pretty crazy for us too. I think I started the year sick. That's how I celebrated your birthday. I was sick for about 3 weeks, and then the following month, we dealt with a death in our family. So it felt like 1 month we'd have off, and then the next month something else would happen. But in the midst of all of that, there were good things that happened too. There were certain goals that we had set the year before, and I saw God's hand on us, where these things were being accomplished. And it's probably the first year that I can say we pretty much marked off almost everything off our list.
That's awesome.
And it was
Except for the weight loss for me.
the weight loss for both. We're still
always
working on that.
That's the one thing right now.
That's been our Achilles heel.
But it felt like, going back to the waves analogy, it felt like 2020 was like that. It was waves and waves.
Yeah.
And just when you think you're going to come up from that water, because it feels like you're drowning, right?
Right.
Maybe some our listeners can sympathize with that,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then you're just like, if
Get
you
some
ever
air.
been in that
Yeah.
situation, which I have, it's like you're trying to just get air, just breathe. And that's how 2020
Right.
was, just challenging. And there, like I said, lots of people were good, but a lot of people experienced. Dr. E, I'm going to come back to you because what can we do despite, and this isn't the only goal for this end of year, new year. This is all around. I think you said something about seasons.
Yeah. We have to really understand that like the year has 4 seasons.
Come on.
Winter, spring, summer, and fall. Our lives have seasons. And they're all designed intentionally. So
Right.
they're all designed to allow us to transition from moments to moments, from life
Right.
dilemmas and life issues from those things to new life experiences. Ultimately, if we trust that behind what we're believing and what we're seeing, there's something even better,
Yeah.
then I guarantee you that you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
We've got to continue to move and not sit in our pain and our hurt. We have to grieve. I tell her every day,
Yeah.
it's okay to cry. No one grieves the same. No one grieves the amount of time
Yeah.
equally.
Yeah, because you lost. Sorry, you lost and you lost,
Yeah.
right? And both of you guys, was it different?
Yes.
Yes.
The experience was
The
different.
grieving
And
process.
we actually had a conversation.
Oh, this is so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
If you guys
Because-
want to help somebody, man.
Because I told him, I said, even though we got our granddaughter, which, oh my gosh, she just brings me so much joy. It's our hearts. My heart is compartmentalized.
Yeah.
And my dad's is void.
That
Part of my heart is void. Wow, she still brings a lot of joy. So I ask him, because I still cry, and I ask him, how does he do it where he makes it look so easy?
It's so different.
Yeah.
So you lose your father, you lose your mother. What were some of the emotions that you dealt with, and maybe you could help somebody who's listening? This is real. This is real stuff.
So the irony is that I help people go through this very often,
Yeah, come on.
but I had no idea that I was going to grieve the way that I grieved. And for me, it was a extreme sadness and at the same time quietness, where I didn't want to speak. I didn't want to speak to anybody.
Yeah.
I just wanted my space. There were times where I was numb, and there's still times where I'm numb. There are times where I got very emotional and I cried. But ultimately, I wrote something when I posted Mom's passing away, which helped me, where I realized that I have a lot of characteristics that were embedded in me by her. And what I did is I vowed that I would continue that legacy of serving, of loving people, not just for me, but because of the legacy that she left and in her name. And so that helped me. That helped me get strength, and it gave me a sense of momentum. So as you guys know, I'm at the tail end of a doctorate degree, and that's one of the things that I vowed as well, that I would be aggressive and make sure that in this coming spring that I would graduate, and I would dedicate that to her, and I'm ahead of schedule, and so it's just a matter of waiting for time to get here, to graduate.
Let's talk about seasons real quick. I know we went fast, but you got in life, and that's that journey. Yeah. This is that journey with marriage and relationships. We're from Ohio, so winters are long and cold.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like 2020 was a whole long winter. Springtime comes for us when we'll go into physical, and then we'll bring it home there. And springtime is like, man, the snow is gone. We're about to come out of this hibernation that we've been in all winter. Cold, long nights, and then they also change the time. So then it's like dark.
Yeah.
And then, but springtime, the birds are chirping.
Everybody comes outside.
You just, you want to do spring cleaning. Come on, somebody.
Yeah.
And then summertime, especially here in Florida, we love it because it's like we're going to the beach. We're going to be with family. We relax a lot more during that season, just a relaxed, fun, vibey, summer vibes.
Yeah.
Then fall, I absolutely love the fall up north. It's when it gets a little bit brisk.
And it changes in color.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I love it.
And man, when we translate these seasons in our lives, it gets cold sometimes, man. You feel lonely. You feel isolated. Even the strongest of us, we help a lot of families, couples. We minister to them. And we're always like, it was like 4 or 5 funerals deep this year.
wow.
And we're going through our own tailspin, and then comes another tailspin.
Yeah.
And then you have to be the calm within, and it takes a lot to be that strong, and I really appreciate you guys opening up to our listeners and to us because, we see you guys as strong, but this shows our listeners that even the strong, man, this year has really tested us. So
Absolutely.
speak about those seasons, like, going through a season, because we have listeners in different seasons.
Yeah.
Some people are at their high, they're having fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Then we got some other listeners, maybe have some marriage problems, some relationship problems with their family. Speak a little bit about those seasons. We'll move on, but this is this is a good stop right
Well,
here.
ironically, you said that 2020 seemed like a long winter. And we happen to be talking about what's coming, which is a reset, which is a spring.
Come on.
It's the coming out. It's the point where living with pain, with sorrow, with disappointment, with setback, meets new opportunities, new horizons.
Come on, Eddie. When we were kids, we just say April showers, bring May flowers. Because there's something about the rain that comes, cleans the debris, the dirt of the, back up north. It used to be so dirty, the streets. But then that rain would come and wash. Come on.
Yeah. And the hibernating represents moments of reflection, moments of self-analyzation, moments of planning, moments of reinvention.
So good.
If you would only embrace this season, or when you get to your winter, and look at it from a different perspective, when the spring comes, you have seed in your hand to be able to sow. In the spring and the summer, you get all of the rewards.
Let me jump in right there. When you're like, if you're in your summer and you're having a good time, but you have a relationship that's going through their winter, I wanted you to talk a little bit about, because some people can be very insensitive.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's being nice.
Yeah.
And I think me and Jess, God has kind of given us that gift to be in and out of season, to be, if you're going to be a good friend, if you're going to be a good son, a good, whatever you are, a good husband, that happens in marriages too, where the husband's doing great in his job and the wife is, maybe she feels unappreciative, unappreciated at home. She's doing all the cooking or whatever. And, we have to be, if we're going to have good relationships this year, man, we have to be sensitive to each other's needs. Yeah. Speak to that, bro.
And
that's heavy, right?
I love it. I love it. The first thing is that you have to recognize the season that you're in.
So good.
Yes.
As a couple.
Right.
Write that down.
And then individually. Right? We don't have to define what winter is. Hey, everybody knows. We don't have to teach about what spring is,
So good.
or what the summer is, or what the fall is. Everybody gets that analogy, even if you've never lived north of Georgia,
Right.
right? And even if you are one that has never experienced the change in seasons, where you have the snow and you see, but you've seen enough on social media or in the media and the news and the movies,
Yeah.
where everybody gets it. Right?
And if
Everybody
you,
knows.
if you get too cocky, you think, oh yeah, everything's going good, and you forget, dude, because wintertime comes. It's coming again,
yeah.
right?
And so
sun goes up, sun goes down. We go through the motions.
yeah,
it's coming again.
It cycles. And so when we understand what seasons we're in, then
This is so good.
we know what to wear.
Oh, drop that bomb, bro. Drop that bomb.
We know how to dress.
Yeah.
We know how to.
Bro, even the animals know.
Absolutely.
They start
Absolutely.
collecting
know.
the little squirrel.
So
No,
if
yeah.
you're in summertime, 9 out of 10 in that season, you have a surplus, right? You not only have a surplus in the physical, but you have a surplus in the emotional and in the spiritual, where you can use that to help you make it through your winter.
That's so good.
Go ahead,
Right.
Dr. E. Work it.
And-
work that thing, man.
And the idea here is not to believe lies that people want to tell you about where you're at.
Oh. No, one more.
So-
You dropped that bomb right there for Dr. E.
So there's a lot of people that feel the need to tell you
What season you're in.
what season you're in
come
and
on.
what you're going through.
Yep.
Right.
Right.
Right. Right.
And you can be going through the winter and have your snow boots on,
Right.
have your big coat, the Eskimo jackets that you zip up and it's got the fur.
Yeah. Come
You
on.
have your gloves on. You got your shovel because you're going to go shovel a bunch of snow, right? And they're trying to tell you you're in your summer.
Wow.
So don't believe for a minute
Write
what
that down.
someone else tells you about your life
Come on.
Wow.
and where you're at. The first thing to make it through is to know and to be honest with yourself and say, hey,
Right.
I'm in my spring. I'm in my fall. And what does that represent? Right? And then turn to your wife, your spouse, your husband, and recognize what season they are in. And it's important to know the seasons because then you know how you can help them.
Ooh. You got to check the temperature, man.
There you go.
Even
Check
if
the
I'm
weather.
a father,
Come
I
on.
should know where my family's at.
Yes, sir.
As a leader of my family, I'm speaking to the guys now. You know,
Yes, sir.
You got to know where your boys are at. If you got boys, if you got daughters,
Yes.
you got to know what time.
Absolutely.
I'll
Come
say
on.
this. I'll say this. Women, this is for all my women. You have a very special gift. It's called discernment. You can discern what season and where your boys are at
That's right.
or your daughters. You can discern where your husband's at based on his tone, based on his vision, his lack of vision, based on his drive or his lack of motivation.
Sometimes the guys we could
so
be a little
true.
bruto, like brutes, right? You know,
Yeah,
We're
we-
not too sensitive like the women now.
We need them.
Yeah.
And I learned this a long time
so
ago.
good. Come on.
It didn't matter what season I was in. I always took her for granted and her gifting that was created to protect me and the family.
Wow.
And it always sounded like this. Why do you always have an opinion about everybody that I introduce you to? Or everybody that I meet and you say that they always want something from me? that they're not genuine with me. They only want who I am or what I have. Or and I would always tell her, you always got something to say about somebody and you don't know them.
Wow.
And 9 out of 10 times, she would be right.
Oh, yeah. They dropped the bomb for the ladies. Un aplauso.
Toma.
We need them, bro. We need them.
So women insist on making sure that you use your discernment with your men and your family. Men, use that to your benefit.
And sorry, and also women, and it's also your tone. You know, you can't tell a man, you know, you're an idiot. You know, you can't do that. You got to come to them and
Thank you, Miss Brenda.
That's important.
and
love,
and really and in love tell them, hey, you know, I feel this about this person, and leave it in their lap.
Explain.
Explain to me.
Let me throw this out here real quick. This is a great podcast, man. Stay tuned. We got more coming up here really quick before I forget. You could be, let's say you were in your winter and then the seasons change. You could be in your summer and your good season, your high season, your fun, vibey, but mentally you stayed in winter. Talk about that.
Yeah.
So the progression should be parallel. So the progression of your emotions, right? Of your emotional world, of your spiritual realm, and of your physical realm should be parallel and should change parallel. Do you want me to say that again?
Yeah, one more time.
I want you to work it out. Work that idea out.
So a lot of us want change and want 2021 to be.
Woo, let's go. Yeah.
Well, I think, before I say what I'm going to say, I think that 2021 might just be the year that you've been dying for. No pun intended. The year that you've been waiting for your entire life.
Right.
But in order to take advantage of it, you have to be emotionally willing to change seasons. You have to be spiritually willing to change as well. And physically, you have to be willing to embrace new things
Right.
in your mindset and prepare for what's coming.
Wow.
That's so good.
And it takes discipline, it takes faith, it takes belief, and it takes a lot of courage to leave the season that you're in to embrace a new season.
Let me ask you a question, Doc. Why can some people go through certain tragedies and they can come out of it, and some people stay where they're at? Some people, after a tragedy or after someone passes away or whatever that thing is, or divorce, they're never the same.
They're unable to recover.
And then there's other people that, like this word you're talking about, what is it?
Resetting.
Resetting. They can reset. You know, obviously it takes months or time and seasons, but some people never come out. Is there a particular reason why, or did you?
I don't know. Is it they don't want to let go? Because
That's one very important factor.
Yeah.
They don't want to let go.
Especially in a loss. Like, you almost don't want to move on with life.
Yeah. You don't want to let go. You don't want to live. You want to stay there. Part of the conversation that I had with her yesterday was, listen, if your dad had the ability to stand next to you, would he be proud of you for how you're celebrating him? Or would he be disappointed that you don't want to live or you don't want to move on and you don't want to let go? He was 83 and he had a full life.
Yeah.
He lived an amazing life. And the result of being an amazing dad is that she's still grieving, and she'll forever grieve. So that's the impact of someone that has changed your life and that created value in your life, right? If he was a deadbeat, she wouldn't lose a tear.
Yeah.
Right? That's okay. That's okay. It's okay to miss him.
Yeah.
It's okay to want to hold him again and hear him. And the guy was a comedian, you know.
So you're saying you can still move on and still have those moments where you're still reflecting?
And you're going to have those moments that you're going to reflect. And you're going to have those moments because they're unforgettable.
Yeah.
How about somebody that went through a divorce? I know this is hard
Well,
because they say divorce is...
it's taxing because most of the time it has nothing to do with love. So let's go back to the analogy of emotional, spiritual, and physical, right?
At the same time, you said.
Right? If they haven't been willing to change to the new season in those three aspects, and they only are willing to change in two or one aspect, they're always going to be dragging that behind them. It's called baggage. They don't want to let go. So it might be an emotional thing that they don't want to let go. They don't want to let go of that. They don't that they lost for instance, their father. No, nobody's going to tell me I'm not going to let go. And if I have to cry every day, I'm going to have to cry every day. If I want to reinvent myself where I don't want to be motivated by anything because he's not here, then you see where I'm getting at? Mm-hmm. So in a lot of divorces, they might get over it physically, where they're okay without the presence of that person, right? And they might be okay with it emotionally, but not spiritually. Why do I say that? Because anytime a husband and wife cleave to each other, the Bible says that they become one.
Right.
That word cleave, we don't talk about a whole lot. Part of the definition is penetrating, piercing that person. That's how you physically become one. But it's also a covenant. It's a spiritual piercing, right? And so they don't want to let go of that. They don't know how. And it takes time, right? So it's tough for divorce in any situation. And what we need to understand is that it hurts. A lot of times it affects the children involved if they have children, and it takes the wind out of you.
Yeah.
Where if you're in the middle age, you're thinking, I don't want to ever do this again, or who's going to marry me?
Wow.
Right? So then you have the aspect of lost hope.
Yeah, like damage control.
Right. You're damaged. Right? So to all of you that are going through a divorce or getting ready to go through a divorce or went through a divorce, you can rewrite your story.
Let me throw a question at you, because I know you've been reading this book we're talking about resetting. What with the mind, what is it about the mind and resetting that you could speak to help somebody that, a lot of times, right, we want to change, like even with my weight loss, like I want to do it.
Absolutely.
But there's a dividing there somewhere, and maybe it's not connecting or something, So what about the mindset? How can you help somebody with that?
It's actually, you have a choice, so you make that mental choice that you want that change. It's kind of, when I hear reset, I hear like rewiring. You kind of rewire your thoughts, if it was negative, like we had a loss or several losses, instead of just focusing on the loss, you focus on the good things, the positive things. Mm-hmm. And it's a way of rewiring how you think. You become more optimistic versus pessimistic, you know, where everything is, oh, woe is me.
Yeah.
More, you know, pity me.
Because the way our mind is like, if you don't give it something new to think about, it'll always revert back to the old.
Right. And your brain has a way of, which I thought was pretty cool in the book, it starts to create new strands. And it starts to kind of, you know, these wires in your brain. It's like someone taking a new wire and putting it and connecting it. So you start creating new memories. So I think it's imperative, you know, to make that choice, because it is a choice that you make to be more positive or to look at things kind of what you said, you know, in a different way. And it's okay to cry. It's okay to go through those emotions, but making that choice in your mind that regardless of how you feel, you're going to look at the bright side. You're going to look at it.
Dr. E, we're running out of time, so I probably would like to revisit this, possibly. It's up to you. But let's go ahead and try to land this plane. You know, how can I have, you said something about the best year yet. What can I do? Maybe somebody's saying, I feel all y'all's pain. We cried and you guys shared your powerful story, but somebody's saying, okay, I get it. There's been pain, but what can I do different right now? You know, and we're not only talking about New Year, we're talking about seasons here. Yeah. Because everybody's in a different seasons, and you might hear this in another season and you're thinking, what, you know, Dr. E, help us out, man. What can we do to make that shift, to reset and let it be more than just a resolution? You know, what can I do to just be better? I think that's what we're hearing a lot. Just be a better human being, you know?
Yeah. It all starts in your mind. We are a sum total of our thoughts. I can't push you to believe what I see in you. You have to see what is in you.
Right.
You have to know that you have the capacity of achieving anything that you want.
Right.
If you only believe yourself, then that's half the battle.
But there's an epidemic out there. Here, I'm going to throw you some excuses. But my mom or my family, they never went to college. They never had a business. All these thoughts, man.
Right.
They overwhelm our nation.
They are. I always tell a lot of my clients, don't believe the lies. Mm-hmm. And not just don't believe the lies. Don't believe the lies that you're telling yourself.
Wow.
Ooh.
Because that's beyond excuses. You're convincing yourself.
Come on.
And you don't need to be assisted by no one.
Right.
You convince yourself out of what you truly can do.
Right.
And be.
Brother,
That's
that's the dangers of isolation. Come on, let's go there.
But it's not just dangers, right?
You flip it.
But it's
Go ahead, bro. Work
it's
it.
the beauty of isolation.
Okay.
Because if you use isolation to say, okay,
So you just did what you were teaching us to do.
correct,
Because I said it's about isolation,
right,
and you just turned that into good.
exactly.
Ooh, come on.
So
Drop the bomb.
in
Drop
isolation,
the bomb.
I've achieved this year in spite of everything that we've gone through. I've achieved in marriage, in parenthood, in friendship, in education, in this podcast. What I've never achieved in 1 year.
My God.
Come on.
And everything about 2020, if you put it together, will be the very thing that gives me opportunities like I've never seen before in 2021. So I use the isolation and I use the time to rest, to bum out, but also to uplift, to reinvent myself, to work.
What was the before? Give me the before and after. Were you hustling and hustle and bustle? Were you busy?
Well, before 2021, before 2020, I've always been someone that has had good habits.
Yeah.
Right. But never had the time that I've had this year to do a lot of things at one time.
Wow.
Right. Because it was spread out in planning. Right. Like you guys know, we were doing the events every month for Uncovered and for all the couples. Right. So that was like a priority. So a lot of my time in the month would be planning, okay, and sitting and saying, okay, God, what is it that we need to address in that one event that can change somebody's life? Yeah. And I spent a lot of energy talking to people, praying about it, preparing about it. So when I got to that evening, people loved it. People embraced change. People embraced everything about that event. But it was a month of ramping up, right? Versus now, this year, it's been a year of ramping up to have these types of conversation and to get it to the point where it's not just in Central Florida. Because there are people listening to us all over.
Yeah.
And change is it's good.
Yeah.
In some instances, it's like a little bit of both.
So we can't run away from crisis. We can't run away from pain.
That's good.
We can't hide from loss.
Right.
Sometimes you want to do that, man.
Yeah.
If you've been in a hard relationship or you just want to, I'm not gonna lie, man. Sometimes you just want to run. I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm gonna say something real quick. Before 2020, I fell. A lot of our listeners wouldn't know that, but I fell in the rain. It was raining. I slipped, and I had 7 staples to the head. Ouch. And that was for me to never, to forget my family, But I survived it. It was a wake up call because I was doing too much, going too fast. And you would think that after that, I wouldn't do it. And I was still, I'm in business, so it can get very hectic. And, and so this year I just jumped right back into the, the motion. Boom, move, keep going, go. Don't stop. And when the COVID came out, then that kind of slowed things down for me, and I was able to, like you, our family, we've accomplished a lot and did a lot of things. And, this podcast machine and all that, I had the time in isolation to think things through and like, dude, you gotta. Yeah. And sometimes I would beat myself up. And sometimes in the very beginning, I would shut down. I didn't know. And even as they talk again about it, maybe shutting down again, something within me was shut down. But I was able to overcome that and be surrounded by great people and have these hard, tough conversations. And now we didn't know anything about lighting. We didn't know anything, right? No. We worked it out.
In this room, about nada.
Yeah.
About
I know,
nothing.
it's amazing.
Could you speak a little bit about what you did in the isolation or your mindset?
Well, I was kind of happy that the family was together.
Oh, okay.
because that was
the mom perspective.
the big thing. Just because I saw, our kids are older. They're not kids. They're young men. They're older, and so they're doing their own thing. So it was nice having them come back, be at the home, or to see the unity within the brothers. I think that was a big deal for me. It's like, if I'm not here, he's not here. I think as a mom, you want them to have each other, and so that was a big deal for me.
Yeah.
And then going through my transitions in the business world, I mean, I'm grateful that God provided for us during that time. There were many that they lost their jobs, they didn't have, and some of us were still working. It was almost as if nothing had ever stopped, And so for that, I was very grateful, and I think we were fortunate in that, because there was so much uncertainty going on.
How about you, Brenda?
Well, I'm grateful that I'm home. I don't work in the corporate world, and so I'm able to be here with my granddaughter.
Wow.
Yeah.
And also help my mom and help my sister because
they're transitioning now,
they're
right?
transitioning now.
Wow.
So that's what I'm grateful for.
Eddie, let's land this plane, man. Let's talk to the marriages real quick. How can I get a different perspective and hit the reset button and maybe give each other a new start, a new opportunity to mess up? Because I need it.
I think like any person that has any kind of common sense would find help, would try to find wise counsel. Do yourself a favor.
Okay.
If you are going through the worst time of your life as you see it, right? Because we all have to define what's worst.
Exactly.
And suicide has been
Yes.
on a high.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We lost a neighbor several weeks ago.
Wow.
It's real, man.
Get help. There is wise counsel that can direct you to a path of health. And then you got to want to change it. You have to want it. You have to believe that you are everything that those that love you say you are, that those that affirm you say you are.
Right.
And if you don't believe anyone, I want to tell you
Say it, brother.
that you're valuable,
Yeah.
that who created you
Yep.
created everything you need inside of you to be the very person that you're supposed to be.
Yeah. You're
And-
worth it.
And you're worth it. And yet you continue to believe the lies that you tell yourself and other people tell you. And so don't believe the lies. Get wise counsel. Surround yourself with new people that are better than you. If you're the brightest bulb in your circle, you're in trouble.
Right.
Right?
That's so true.
So that's a start. Believe that there is hope, because there's hope for you. And you can rewrite your story. And years from now, you can turn around and you can give insight to those that come behind you to say, hey, watch this, watch that. Hey, watch that hole. Hey, watch that obstacle. Hey, I can't. I went the same way. I've been there and done that, and allow yourself the grace and the opportunity to shine.
Yeah. What about the husband that screwed up, or the spouse, wife or husband, and they need a new chance, man? Because the new season, what does that do for somebody when you know, because sometimes if your partner screwed up we can hold them to that and just keep reminding them, hey, remember when you did this?
Yeah.
What about a reset?
Yeah.
Speak to those couples that have been fighting and holding on to them grudges. This is a good opportunity, a great season, right? And it's
absolutely.
something about letting go, bro. Speak to it, man.
Well, in order to reset, completely reset, the first thing that has to happen is that you have to be genuine and you have to be honest. Okay? You have to own your part of it.
Right.
Number 2, you have to forgive. And what I mean by forgive is that you have to give the benefit of the doubt to that person and create a clean slate where you don't visit that. But it's not as easy as it seems,
Right.
because on the other end, if you're the transgressor, you have to earn that forgiveness.
That's right.
So you have to start new patterns and new habits, right? On your behalf,
Right.
to earn that trust back,
I want to tackle that in the future.
that respect. Otherwise, it's just words.
Yes.
That's true.
And since you're being watched and you're being surveyed and you're being whatever word you want to use,
Right.
if you pass the test, then at the end of the test, then there's an opportunity for you to regain that trust. And that's the greatest feeling in the world. Right? Otherwise, there's always going to be doubt. And there's always going to be that sense of unforgiveness.
Yeah.
And then you have indifference there. And it'll never be the same.
One last question. What's it look like on the other side on reset?
On reset,
Once you do it, what's it feel like? Give me a sense of the hope. Give me a hope. What's on the other side?
one word is called grace, right? So you're in front of the judge. You're guilty.
So good.
You've done it. You're getting ready to get sentenced.
Yeah.
Sentenced emotionally.
Yeah. So good. Come on.
Believing that and knowing that you're in the situation that you're in. And the judge says to you, listen, I'm going to give you another chance, another opportunity. I'm going to set you free, but you've got to take advantage of what's out there. And not only am I going to set you free, I'm going to give you all the resources so that you can get this job, you can get this housing,
Right.
you can get this car, you can get the reset. Allows you to start from scratch with nothing over your head and nothing held against you. That's what it looks like.
Man, this was so good.
Really good.
Well, we want to thank you guys for being transparent. I would love to dedicate this episode to your parents.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Let's get a quick word from our sponsors. For right now, you can reach us at team@uncoveredpodcast.org. Again, that's team@uncoveredpodcast.org. Remember, the only way to live is uncovered in marriage and relationships. God bless you, and thank you for listening.
Feeling, baby, no cap. And you stay in the kitchen looking like a snack. But on the real, my life is bliss. And you my spicy uno, I put down that 6. All hands on deck, girl, you know I'm in. I'm gonna ride till I die, cause you know we gon' always be feeling good, just like we should, babe. Surfing live, we on a new wave. You don't have to worry, cause we living it up. Now throw them hands up while we singing this hook, we be